Hello, 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 hello. I'm happy today. I talked to my family. It was good to see them. So I made myself a milkshake. It is a superfood green shake. And I got the matching painting for it. I got a matching painting to go with the not quite the same color, but it's coming very close. It's nice, huh? It's awesome. So, it tastes so good. Mm. Delicious. I'm putting it in this self-made art shelf. See, that is what I do. This is my camera stand and it is very practical. And I have got vegan milkshake spots. Sometimes I forget to pat that off. So, okay. The other one is finished. And it is lying over there by my tea paraphernalia. I have to put two nails into it under the smoke detector, and I'm gonna put that in underneath the smoke detector because that one is lopsided heavy, and it doesn't stay over the smoke detector. This one is not lopsided heavy. This one is very lightweight. Doesn't have an extra eye that I put on it. This one does stay on the smoke detector and covers up the ugly smoke detector, and that looks really awesome. And then I'll have these two on top of each other on that wall over there, and that will look really awesome. So I had this one over this for a while, just temporarily, because I wanted to finish one of them first, so which I did. No, I'm gonna finish this one. This one I did the raw paint, as you can see. And now I'm going to do the fine tuning with this. And after the fine tuning, I'm going to do the nitpicking, and then I'm going to be done. This one, this painting here, the big one, is, as I told my parents and my brother, this one is in the nitpicking process right now, because I always feel like I need to nitpick, I need to improve it some more. So now I have to find the colors that go with this. It is the same color as this here, as this, wait, yeah, it is the same color as the lower part of the lawn of that painting. So that is very neat. And I have this color here to go with this color also, which I also have in here, which is this. So I'm going to start with this one. It isn't much left now. I have to be cautious about this because I still have to use some of this, might still have to use some of this for the big painting. Not much left of this because it's not easy. It's easy to mix these colors, but it's not easy to remix the exact same shade. So I can get close to it, but if I have to remix it, then it will never be the exact same shade, and it will show when I continue painting then with the remixed color. So that's why it's better to never have to get low on it when I'm working on a large project, because if I do, then I end up having to repaint the entire surface of it in order to have that one shade and not some kind of off shade of it. It was good to see my family and their dog Maxi. He's an angel soul. I didn't see the cats. They have two cats and one dog. My brother's dog. My parents have two cats, which are actually the gardener's cats, but they always hang out in their house because there's always something going on there. And it's very great that the gardener has these two cats for my parents. It's very wonderful. It's a marvelous, amazing gardener. Fantastic person. I'm so grateful. I wished for this, wished so much for that, for this particular exact person. And it happened. This is a law of attraction. Oh, it's getting hot. I gotta take this jacket off. Gotta take it off. I am amazed. I didn't even turn the heater on. I'm so grateful for this. So grateful. I'm so grateful for warmth. You know, I need warmth. I need physical and mental warmth. I need people to be warm to me and not cold. And I'm so grateful that I found very sweet people on the internet that are warm, and I'm so grateful for the internet that makes it possible that all the warm people can find each other. It's a wonderful thing. Very grateful for that. People who love animals, who want to see the world a better place. People who want all animals to be protected and saved. This is a wonderful meditation process. I'm gonna have to open the window. So what I see, what I observe on the internet is very, very tragic. What I observe in general with humans, and particularly with humans that have a violent religion, what I observe is that these people identify themselves with the religion and with the violence of that religion. And then once they identified themselves with it, with their ego and with their entire person, and that goes very deep, that goes so deep that they feel like without that identification they're actually nobody, they're like dead. So that is biological fear of death, and that is most of all psychological fear of death. Who am I without all of this? I fall into an abyss. And that is what it is. When I talk to these people, I still have to block them when they support halal slaughter. They would support anything. That it doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter how violent it is. People have supported the guillotine. Now halal slaughter is like the guillotine for the animals. And the animals are innocent, haven't even done anything to, they get guillotined, and much worse. Halal is much worse than the guillotine, actually. I don't know if any of you know what halal slaughter is. It bleeds the animals to death when they are hung upside down. It's part of Sharia law, it's part of the Quran. And the people support this, even some caring people, or some that are more caring, or say they are, and then they support this. No matter how cruel it is, they will support it because their entire identity has latched onto this identification with that religion. So that has become sort of like, that's like part of them. It's like it has become them. That's what they think. It's not true, but that's what they think. So that's why I think it is so vital that we reroute our neuronal connections on this, and that we ask critical questions, and that we really get into this, and that we ask the question, why is that? And particularly ask the question, who am I if I quit that religion? Am I dead then? Is that the case? No, you're not dead then. No, matter of fact is you come alive. You become free and alive if you get rid of that religion, if you abandon that, and if you let it fall away. Dissolve it. Okay. Dissolve it, recycle it. Shoot it into the sun, and let something nice come out of it instead. Let a knowledge come out of it, a knowledge about the religion, a knowledge of freedom that says, now I know what this religion is really all about. It was just to shackle me. It was just to make me unfree. It was just to serve some very neurotic people. Now I'm free. I don't need it anymore. It has become dissolved. Okay, that's the process that I want to see people go into. It's very important. One very great way of dissolving religion is if you get into art, if you make an art project. And if it's against the law, I understand that where you live, if you live in the Middle East, it is very dangerous for you to do anything that is liberating because of the dictation and because of the neurotic people that will come after you then. Okay, it is very difficult, I understand that. Okay, I feel for you, I feel terrible for you. Okay, but anyone who supports the halal slaughter and defends it tooth and nail, to me, is gonna get blocked, because, and it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter how dangerous things are in your country. If you don't have to support the halal slaughter, you can say something, you can speak out. You can at least voice that concern and that criticism to someone who is not of that religion. That's the least you can do. That's the first step you can do, okay? To start to slowly break free from it. That's the first step, to talk to a Westerner about this, about these horrible things, and to tell them that you want to break free, and to ask them to help you, help them, to ask them to help you. So we need emotional support. This is very important in all of this. Very important. But I cannot, absolutely cannot keep a so-called Facebook friend if they support the halal slaughter. I cannot, I am very sorry, I cannot do it. I have to block these people. I do not support anyone there that that defends something so horrific. This is the same as defending, the slaughter and torture of children. The same exact thing. I don't see any difference. And they do that too. They're even in favor of child labor and child marriage and all of this. The women are slaves to the men. Girls are slaves to the men. The daughters are slaves to the fathers. The daughters think that's okay, that if they do make a mistake, that they're being stoned to death. There's a lady in Germany that interviewed these families, and the 11-year-old daughter saw nothing wrong with that. The fact that she can be stoned to death at any time if she makes a mistake. If she doesn't wear the hijab or something, or if she dates a boy from a different religion or a different worldview. So it has been so hammered into these people's brains that they cannot think out of that anymore. They cannot be free. Same as the people in North Korea. It's yet a different thing. It's a different worldview, but equal terror, equal reign of terror. We need to dissolve it. We need to dissolve this gradually. This cannot continue. The horror cannot continue, and you and every single one of you is responsible to bring this to an end. And you start by dissolving that self-image that you have, the identification with that religion. That's the first thing that needs to go. You need to stop that. You need to end that identification. Bring it to an end. You are not your religion. You are a living being for your own personal rights and reasons. You have the right to be free from any dictatorship or any religion, any oppression. You have the right to be free. The men are equally unfree, of course. The women, however, and the animals suffer the most from that horrific religion. People become identified with that. Even the victims become identified with that victim situation. And it's very, very dangerous. And then out of that come all these atrocities, and no one ever says anything, because they all identify themselves with this atrocious situation, atrocious religion, with this tormenting, brutal, torturing, and brutalizing religion. So the first step is undo it. Undo the ties to this. Very, very important. All of you, every one of you. Everyone, whether it's the dictator or that has the power over the people, or the people who are shackled, the slaves. It doesn't matter whether it's men or women. You have the responsibility as human beings to undo this, to undo this identification with that religion. That very guy that I blocked, he asked me yesterday, he says, I see you're a very caring person, you're very, very committed, very, very caring and all of this. Then he says, that's kind of silly, he says. And then he says, what's the point in all of this caring? I'm not kidding you, this is what he asked me. What is the point in all of this caring? I said, what's the point in love? What's the point in caring and loving, you know? Seriously, what is the point in all of this? What is the point in caring and loving? I ask all of you, what is the point? Isn't the point to care and love? Isn't the point to make the world a better place? To feel better? Isn't feeling better worth it? For all of us, all beings? So I told him, I can't help it. This is how my brain is set up. I care and love. And I feel terrible for people who can't. I've never seen anything so incredibly sad as that question. Because that's the root of all that suffering, is a question like that. What's the point in all of this caring? That really shows the underlying bleakness of that brain. And only such a bleakness, such a corpse-like, zombie-like bleakness, such a prison mentality bleakness, only such thing can even create some religions like this, can even create such an identification. If there is so much bleakness in that brain, then the religion, that is the only thing he has to perpetuate the very bleakness that he has become, to perpetuate it because of that identification. Okay, and that's why you have to dissolve that identification with the religion, so that we can dissolve the bleakness and the coldness and callousness and war and this mentality of confrontation, of conflict, strife, dictatorship, and so on, controlling, misogyny, battering of innocent beings. So we can bring this to an end. So we can be free of it, all of this horror. So we can sit at the beach with a glass of grape juice and ice and listen to the waves and be happy and look in the heavens, as Jiddu Krishnamurti said, look in the heavens and be happy and be in communication and friendship with one another, all of us living beings. Sit there with your arm around your dog, looking at the ocean. That's the meaning of life. Not war not identification with a horrible, horrible regime or religion or whatever worldview or whatever dictatorship. You are a living being. Question these things, people. Please. Please question it. Question everything wherever you are. Question your authorities. Question the commercials and the dictation and the institutions. Question them. Maybe some of them have some truth in it. Maybe there's some facts in the EPA, you know. But question them. Don't just go, oh, because the EPA said it, it must be true. No, it's not always true. Some of it is tweaked and manipulated by those people who want to have leverage, who want to sell you things. They have their fingers everywhere in it. They have their fingers everywhere, even in manipulating you with your religions. Worldwide. Not just the Christian religion, Islam and other religions as well. Horrible. Any kind of group thinking, question it. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, question the group thinking. Are they right? Maybe they are. Then it's okay. But you don't need the group thinking to be. You can think like someone else, but not because of someone else thinking that way. Does this make sense? You think the way you think because you care, because you want to make the world a better place for every living being. Okay, whether that's approved, that view, by someone else or not, doesn't have any weight at all. Everyone can do it. Everyone can do it. Everyone can think for themselves. They can, theoretically, they can. You have the capacity to do it. You have the capacity to be a good steward and make the world a better place. You don't need a religion. You don't need an identity. You're a living being. All of our bodies are equally precious. Equally precious. The brain cells even too. Even the brain cells want good. They innately want good. It is the religion and the indoctrination that creates these thoughts, that creates the thinking of measurement and this adhering to a group. It is basically a raping of your own brains and body cells. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing when you're adhering to a religion, or when you are slaughtering or bullying or torturing another living being. You're torturing yourselves. My brother, he knew a guy who was a hunter in Germany, and he was shooting deer. And at some point, he turned that rifle towards his own brain and pulled the trigger and blew his brains out. And I have this feeling, I don't know whether that's the truth. I don't know this person, but I don't know. I have energetically somehow came to me this feeling that he suddenly realized that what he was doing was utterly wrong. It was a violation. It was a violation towards an energetic violation to kill these animals. So he couldn't live with that anymore. He realized how he was, how everything is. I think he must have realized it energetically, suddenly, that things are tied in with one another. Things are not separate. That you're not separate from the animal. We're all tied in with one another. It's an energetic matrix. It's a violation of your own body to kill another living being. And it doesn't matter how long the human species has lived like that, with this killing and maiming. It doesn't matter whether it is a tradition or something that they had to do to survive or whatever. I don't do something to advance myself, my body, or my, for hunger or whatever reason, when I have to hurt another living being. I will not do it. Okay. I will not do it. I will not eat something that causes suffering for my own, just for my own pleasure or whatever, even if it's even if it was for a nutritional reason, which is not the case. Meat is a killer. This has been proven now scientifically. Okay. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about ethics, and I'm always talking about ethics. And it's funny how people always twist this into a discussion on nutrition. And then they bring up the meat industry propaganda and all of this. The meat industry has leverage, huge leverage over universities and even over entire research projects. Those are false research projects. They fake these things. It's true. I'm not making this up. They fake that stuff so that they can sell people a scientific, in quotation marks, documentation on their untrue stuff. Meat, and this is done by the real researchers, not the paid ones. Meat is a killer. Literally. It kills your hearts, literally. It literally freezes in your hearts and the arteries and all of this. And the capillaries in your hearts. It freezes your hearts. And then people have massive strokes and heart attacks. And they wonder why. But this is not about nutrition. If it was the other way around, if it was beneficial, which it is not, okay, this is a fact, but if it was beneficial, I still wouldn't eat it. I wouldn't eat it if my life depended on it. Because I am not willing to advance myself or my life by stepping on another life. I'm not gonna live my life on cost of another living being. Okay. And my question to all of you is, don't do it either. And there's one Buddha soul right now out there. He's in India. That's a very, very advanced soul. That's above the God level soul. And his name is Bomjon. He's truly tapped into the infinite. And his message, he was in a long meditation for like half a year without eating and drinking or going to the bathroom. He went into a complete hibernation state. This is possible. Some people are able to do it. It's very rare, though. Scientists came there. They couldn't understand any of it. They couldn't understand it. Because it's so rare. It says it happens like once in a lifetime or something, or once in a Earth lifetime, once in a planetary lifetime. I don't know if it happened before, but might happen again later. But he's there. This guy is there, and all these worshippers, all these people, they have seen what he's able to do. They are impressed now, but they're not impressed with the message. And it is the message that the only thing that counts. After he came out of that meditation, he started talking in Sanskrit. That's what he learned. He was a Buddhist, always been a Buddhist monk from childhood on. And so he talks in Sanskrit, and it is a very old language that is not really an active use language, but it is a language that is very highly attuned to those kind of experiences that have to do with meditation and mindfulness and yoga and yogic practices and with consciousness, all these differently fine-tuned states of consciousness. So that's what it has. It has all the words for these different types of mental states. So he talks in this language, and a lot of people are able to understand it. And I think he also talks in Hindi. And it doesn't matter in which language he talks. I think he also speaks English. He's very young, he's like 19 or 20. And when he talks, I noticed that people don't listen at all. He sits there and he talks about that they must right now, immediately, abandon and abolish the practice of giving animal or human sacrifices to, whatever the gods are, Lakshmi or something. He says this all the time. Sits there, says, you have to stop killing other living beings. You have to stop the animal sacrifices now. And people talk and laugh and talk among themselves and film him, and everyone's excited, but no one listens to what he actually says. Not one person actually listens. They have this blissed out look on their faces. They are mesmerized by him. It's what Jiddu Krishnamurti always noticed in the audience. He said, are you mesmerized now? And they're mesmerized. But then they don't listen. They don't listen. They're mesmerized because that sort of, then they can shed the responsibility onto their God, whoever, that's their God now, and then they can. That's exactly what we want to avoid. Bomjan has a message for you. He demonstrated to you what he can do in order to get your attention so that you listen. But even then you don't listen. Even then you don't. Then you fall into the mesmerization state and worship him and just want him to put a scarf around your head, the scarf of Buddhism, the white honor scarf and all of this, and then you go away blissed out, But did you listen to the message? No. The message. Stop the animal sacrifices. Stop eating and torturing and murdering animals. Stop doing this. That is the message. The message is very simple and very crystal clear. It cannot be misunderstood or misconstructed, even if you wanted to real bad, even if you hired Richard Berman or any market psychologist. You could not misconstruct that message. You can't rhetoric your way out of that message. It's an inconvenient truth that goes against some people's incomes and markets and so on. It doesn't matter. Stop doing it. Stop killing. Stop hurting other living beings. That's the message. Every day needs to be said. It needs to be spoken out. Every day. Thousands and thousands of times. Until people understand. And if they don't understand, then they are asking for the machines to come. Because that's what Stephen Hawking said not long before he died. He said, people are destroying this whole planet, and that's why they don't deserve to exist. And no one listens. They all worship, many of them worshiping, oh, Stephen Hawking, even his haters. Was that Stephen Hawking talking to me? Oh my gosh. Now I can tell my whole family. But did you listen to his message? No. No, he didn't listen to the message. The message is inconvenient. Already forgot. Oh, what was the message again? Yeah, so that's how people think. They don't hear it, they forget it real quickly. Because it's an inconvenient message. It goes against their self-images. Their self-images of being a carnivore, of being macho or whatever, all of this idiotic identification with meat eating or with being brutal. Stay brutal, the meta, stay brutal, baby. That whole thing is I'm not going to use that sign anymore. I'd never say something like this, even as a joke anymore. I just showed this in order to demonstrate what this is all about. But this has to stop. We have to stop that. This identification was brutal, was being, they think that's warrior-like or something. They think that's Viking or metal and being invincible, being powerful, whatever. That has to stop, all of this. And men in particular are real prone to falling into this kind of propaganda and self-identification. Gender type of identification thing. That has to stop. We can't continue this anymore. Absolutely not. Be a kind-hearted living being. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Be a good father. Be a good mother. Be a good living being. That takes responsibility for your children. And all the animals are our children. They all are. Because they're innocent. They're innocent and so sweet and loving, and we are their parents. Stop the arrogance, people. Stop that religious identification and the arrogance that comes with it, and this incredible arrogance of, I found it, or something, I found my God or my religion, and now I'm on top of the world, and all the other ones are regarded as the bottom dwellers. I see this in people. I see this. I see it in their facial expressions. They feel arrogant. They feel superior to others. This is very cold, people. Very cold. That's not stewardship. That is not responsibility. That's not friendship. Okay. We all live here together on this planet, and we need to be kind to each other. It doesn't mean we have to hold the other cheek. It doesn't mean you can't block anyone. Of course you can. But let's not insult each other anymore. Let's not bully each other. I don't bully anyone. It doesn't matter if they bullied me. It doesn't matter if they are brutal people. I don't bully anyone. Bullying does not move anything forward. It just makes things worse. So sarcasm and all of this hostility and this coldness, that has to go. You can talk to each other. You can say, I don't like what you're doing. But don't throw something back with more hostility. Don't throw hostility back. We can talk to each other without hostility. I do straight talking with people, with Muslims too, and everyone. Okay. There always comes a point when they are supporting violence. I cannot tolerate it. They are out. Okay. I explain things to them. If they continue to support the violence, and they probably will because of their identification, but that's not my problem. They are gonna be out. They're not gonna be in my friendship circle. Question these things. Question your religions. The Christians too. All of them. Question this. Question yourselves. Why am I religious? Have I been drilled this way my whole life? Did they have me from 7, so they had me for life? Is that what it is? Is it conditioning? Is it brainwashing? Question it and free yourselves from this. And make the world a better place. Let's all together make the world a better place. Every single person can do it. Every single person can help. I do everything I can in my power. These videos are part of my activism. Making these videos makes me feel like, even if no one listened to it, but some people started listening now, I'm so grateful for this. But even if no one listened, then I would still make the videos, because that's the only thing I can do in my power right now. It's the only thing that I can do in this realm of doability for myself. This is the only leverage, really. And even if I had more leverage, I would never do violent acts, because violence is not going to end violence. Violence makes more violence. I really get it now, I really get it now. I'm not a god, I still get mad, but I really get this now on all levels, intellectually, emotionally, and physically. I really get it. And I'm so grateful for that. And I learned this from many teachers, but the person who really got it into me viscerally is Jiddu Krishnamurti. Through him, I really get it physically. I get it on a cellular level now, that this is the absolute truth. You do not end violence with violence. Adolf Hitler could not end all wars with a war. And no Adolf Hitler will ever do it and has ever done it. There are many Adolf Hitlers, only one is being used as a scapegoat. There are many Adolf Hitlers, including Adolf Hitler. So, and they're all mentally ill, including Adolf Hitler. And they're all full of bull. Okay. And they all need introspection. All of them, right now. Right now, do it. This is not a threat to your regime. This is not a threat to your ego. Just do it. This is a love message from me to you. I mean this as a mother of all beings, including you. You too have been an innocent child that was not loved. And monstrous things come out of that. Monstrous things. When the children are not loved. Not everyone is an advanced soul. Not everyone is able to transcend all of this by themselves. Most people are not. Most people are completely helpless. I've seen people commit suicide. I've seen, not live, not directly, but I've known people who committed suicide, many of them. And I have known people who committed suicide through heroin. And I know these people. I know what they're like. I know how they talked. I know how their whole body expression. I know that there was chaos inside of them. If they don't hurt someone else, they are much more advanced. Okay, if they just, in quotation marks, just kill themselves, if they just tattoo themselves or just hurt themselves, then they're much more advanced. If they hurt others, they are stagnators. No matter how much they have been hurt themselves. But that's why it is so important that violence is ended. We end violence towards all living beings and bring love into the world and love your infants. Make that conscious effort to love your infant babies and animals. Don't create more monsters in the world. Don't create more frightened beings that, when they're stagnators in a human body, they become dictators, become terrible monsters. So love these living beings. If they get the real love, they don't become dictators. They don't. We want to end that cycle of suffering, end the cycle of samsara. And bring peace and love to the world. So that we can sit at the beach peacefully with one another, with your arms around your animals, and look at the ocean, and look into the heavens, and be happy in relationship with one another, in true relationship. That is my dream for the world. And I know we can do it. I know we can do it. You have a choice. You can choose peace and love and commitment over violence. You can be peaceful. You can be loving. You can be kind. You can make that conscious decision for yourselves. You can give a dog water in the desert. You can rescue a puppy dog. You can make these conscious decisions. And then you have contributed to making the world a better place. And if everyone did that, then we can clean this up real quickly, all of this chaos that we have right now. We can clean it all up, can heal it all. almost skin color like makeup. I love that color, always did my whole life. Babetta, it is nice. It's gorgeous, all of it. Babetta is gorgeous. Gorgeous stuff. Life can be good. We can make life good. It's doable. Love is truth.